and finally made his place in the Union Cabinet. He is a completely self-made man who has accomplished everything by the sheer dint of his hard work and sincerity. He is widely traveled, having visited most parts of the world, and has been a prolific writer, authoring numerous books and hundreds of articles. It was very heartening to see him addressing the Vice Chancellors of nearly 700 universities of India online in December 26 to make the digital financial literacy a movement to transform the economy. He is deeply involved in his work and has a thorough grasp over the issues to be tackled by his ministry. Sir, to brief you about the conclave, we have received more than 150 research papers from different countries, including Malaysia, Philippines, Nigeria, and Sri Lanka, and from all corners of India. More than 200 delegates, including faculty, research scholars, and students, are participating in the conclave. The best 25 to 30 research papers will be published in the Scopus Indexed Journal of International Repute. Sir, allow me to very briefly introduce the theme of the conclave. The world economy is going through a very challenging phase marked by sluggish growth in most of the developed world, clash of interest between developing and the developing world, regional economic and political strains, and challenges in international economic cooperation. A sudden shift in economic policies in the US today towards protectionism might prove to be a serious setback to free trade. Nevertheless, the predominant sentiment still is that countries cannot attain economic growth and in isolation, which is amply proved by increasing number of collaboration among nations and corporates. Other trends include increasing engagement of governments in assisting the corporate sector, innovations in the corporate business models, local startups challenging established multinational corporations, and consolidations in various industries to reap the economies of scale. The complexity of today's global economic environment has been further confounded by concerns for social and environmental sustainability, diversity, and inclusiveness. And the resultant dynamics calls for a relook at the strategies for global competitiveness as well as economic growth in both the developed and the developing economies. With this, may I now request the Chancellor LPU to kindly formally welcome the Honorable HRD Minister, Shri Prakash Javadekar-ji, by presenting him a greeting. Thank you, sir. We commence the proceedings of the event by lighting of the lamp and seeking divine blessings. May I request our Chief Guest, the Honorable HRD Minister, Shri Ashok Mittal, and all the dignitaries on the dais to kindly join for the lamp lighting ceremony. As much as the lamp illuminates this event, it symbolizes the true enlightenment which needs to be brought about in every heart and mind. Thank you, sir, for the illumination. May I now request our Chief Guest, Shri Prakash Javadekar-ji, to kindly ring the ceremonial bell for the Management Conclave and the dignitaries to kindly join. Thank you very much, sir. You're honored. As a resolute personality and an inspiring speaker, may I now request our Honorable Chancellor, Lovely Professional University, Mr. Ashok Mittal, for his welcome address, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to LPU's Management Conclave and Annual Honor Ceremony. Today, we at LPU could not have been more proud that we have amongst us none other than the Human Resource Development Minister of Government of India, Shri Prakash Javadekar ji, to conclude our university's one of its kind management conference. Sir, what greater inspirations can my staff and students have than to have the HRD Minister himself here to inspire them? Sir, let me thank you that in spite of an extremely busy schedule, you have found time to be with us today. Thank you very much. Friends, the HRD Minister's life is nothing short of a legend. Today, he is the HRD Minister of the country. But he started right from the ground level and rose up the ranks. Having no family background in politics, whatever he is today is because of his own competence and hard work. He started his public life when he was just 23. At that age, he stood up against the undemocratic policies of the then government and was even put behind bars during emergency. But once released, he never looked back. He quickly became a very prominent leader of the BJP's youth wing and one of top BJP leaders in Maharashtra. And then eventually part of Prime Minister Modi's cabinet in the center. First, as the Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, independent charge. And now as the Cabinet Minister for HRD, one of the most important portfolios in the cabinet. Sir, you were the only minister who was promoted in the latest portfolio reshuffle, and it speaks volumes of the confidence the Prime Minister has in your capabilities and leadership. Friends, Mr. Javadkar's life is a huge inspiration for all us. But what is even more inspirational in his life is the groundbreaking work that he has done in his ministry. In just 8 months, issues that had been stalled for years and decades are now on the fast track. Sir, it is under your leadership that India will be getting new education reforms, long-awaited new education reforms. And what is exceptional about your policy making is that you have ensured that each stakeholder is actively involved. Earlier, regulatory bodies used to just notify new policies, new regulations without any consultation with the institutions and stakeholders. Even if some inputs were taken just for the sake of taking it, and it was only on paper, because they were so obsessed with their ideas, they never implemented or never heard any stakeholder seriously. But under your leadership, the institutions are not only objectively consulted, but are also taken into confidence before any decision. Sir, I am sure your consultative approach and your initiatives will go a long way in helping realize Prime Minister Modi's vision of less government, more governance. Sir, I would also like to appreciate that you have ensured that you keep the private sector also in loop. This has started to defy the prejudices that have existed against private education. Today, under you, we as a private university finally feels like a part of the education system. And no more a stepchild. No more a stepchild. Thank you very much for giving us that environment. You are coming to private university and giving us full day shows the confidence that you have in the private sector, and we assure you, sir, we will never let you down. Sir, you have brought in a new thinking towards using digital technologies in the government and more importantly in the education. When you launched Smart India Hackathon, attended by thousands and thousands of students, we were convinced, everybody was convinced, that we finally have the forward-looking technocrat as a HRD Minister that India so desperately needs. Sir, your office has not shied away from taking tough decisions as well. After much debate, after a lot of loss and back and forth, ultimately you had finally settled the matter related to class 10 exams. It is because of you that the students are taking their exams in peace and in certainty. Sir, even before you were HRD Minister, you still were tirelessly for education sector. You might have forgotten, but you do remember that. When you were the Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, you helped the education sector by protecting us from sub-environment impact assessment regulations that would have hampered our development. And that without any representation. And that without any representation from the education sector, because we couldn't think of that our demand will be met. But he did at his own. Thank you very much, sir. And sir, even before your government came to power in 2014, you still championed our cause. During the previous government, there were some anti-constitutional bills that were being introduced in the parliament for the education sector. The bills were regressive. If those bills were passed, all universities and colleges would not be able to function properly and all the innovation and research would be stalled. So, since Mr. Javadekar was in opposition at that time, I met him with some delegation and gave him our feedback about those bills. Colleagues, I will never forget the words he told me then. He said, "Now that I know about the problem, you need not bother." And of course, he fought for the education sector, even though he was in opposition, and ensured did constructive work that led to eventual withdrawal of all 4 bills of Government of India of that time, which was totally unheard of, that the bills were eventually led to withdrawal after 4 years of struggle by our Honorable Minister. Thank you very much, sir. Let me share with you, had it not been for Mr. Javadekar, the entire education sector would not be thriving today. Sir, I am convinced, we all are convinced, that just like how in 1991 the goddess Lakshmi, that is the economy, was released from the shackles of regulatory regime, your groundbreaking reforms in education will release goddess Saraswati, that is the education sector, from regulatory shackles as well. Sir, we congratulate you on a very successful term so far and wish for even more illustrious tenure ahead. Dear colleagues, please join me in giving a standing ovation to the Minister's commitment towards building a better future for India. A better future for India. Thank you. Sir,
वो कर लेंगे वो
today
Pictures I'll
we will
include.
also
Status
be
देखो आप.
recognizing our staff and students who have excelled and have been the strongest pillar of university.
स्टेटस करते पे मैडम.
And it goes without saying that their success is reflected in the success of our students. From Forbes billionaire to Google engineers, from presenting their projects at Auto Expo to winning medals in World Cups, our students are attaining every possible height. Sir, I would like to close by saying that I am extremely proud of the team we have at LPU. Big clapping for our team. For thousands of us hail from all states of India, dedicated to the idea of transforming education and transforming India. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Each interaction with you is always a source of tremendous inspiration to all of us. And today we all stand much better educated about how education reforms are happening in the country. And I think the Honorable Minister was little engrossed in his paper. Sir, the Chancellor spoke about unshackling Goddess Saraswati. Thank you, sir. I wanted to make it short. Thank you. It is now time for us to listen to the very valuable views of our most honored chief guest, Shri Prakash Javadekar ji. May I request the Honorable HRD Minister for his address, please.
गुड आफ्टरनून. खाना खा के बैठे हो या खाना बाकी है? क्योंकि खाना खा के बैठे हो तो मुझे और जोर से बोलना पड़ेगा क्योंकि नींद ना आए. And if you are hungry, you will listen well, and I am also hungry. Ashok Mittal ji, Som Prakash ji, all dignitaries on dais, and friends. What a lovely university it is. It's a village or city by itself. "30,000 students and 20,000 students staying together. That's a wonderful experience." At the outset, I must congratulate you because you have got a very good campus. Otherwise, in many areas where we go, there is no proper campus. Here you have. And more importantly, I was told that all the 29 states of India are represented in the lovely university. That's just great. And not only 29 states of India, but even 40 countries are represented in lovely university. Thus, it's a global university. understand that learning in diversity is a basic learning. Learning with diversity. If you are in a college where only nearby villages and the city students come, that's one part of the story. But learning in such a diversity, right from south to north, northeast to east, west, everything, and 40 countries together. So what we learn in books is a subject knowledge. But what we learn in studying with diversity, with all the students of the world, is a different learning, which is the real learning, I can say. It's more than the subject knowledge, because upfront, what is the purpose of education? The subject knowledge is one part of the education. Skill is another part of education. But to make a good human being out of system, that is the motive of education. And that is what this diversity brings in that. Sometimes people see diversity as a cause to quarrel. But we always think that India, the country which is a tolerant country and which has welcomed historically everybody from the world. And once upon a time, we were the leaders in education. Nalandas, Takshashilas, Vikramshilas, and all these universities. We were 1/3 of the world trade and 1/4 of the world GDP. That was the prominent position, because you today are concluding the seminar on global competitiveness. And in that we were top in trade also, in manufacturing also, and also in our education. Because I always believe that we were great because we had Nalandas and Takshashilas. So only that country prospers which has good universities, and that is where we want to take India to. जहां यूनिवर्सिटी अच्छी होती है वही तो देश बड़ा होता है. Because education is empowerment. Tell me, what can make a child of a agriculture laborer who can aspire and become scientist, can become IAS officer, can become collector of the district, where his father and mother were just servants? That social transformation, no caste, no religion, only education empowers. Only education empowers. Let's understand. It transforms life of individual. It transforms lives of society. It transforms life of family and everything and country. I was telling you the story about Nalanda. Why Nalanda was attacked? नालंदा की लाइब्रेरी ऐसी थी कि वो जलते 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 1 महीना आग जलती रही. इतनी बड़ी लाइब्रेरी थी. Why that was attacked? Because some bad elements in the world who don't want to see India progressing were attacking the centers, and they realized that it is the best university is the real cause of prosperity of India. And those who don't want to see prosperity in that spirit, they attacked the centers of knowledge. But we have rebuilt it. And I'm very sure with public-private partnership and with public institutes and private institutes competing within and competing with each other can really bring out the best of India, and that's the future of India. That's the future. And now you will also, I must compliment Ashokji, because now you can't run institute by providing the best of the infrastructure. Because now students with digital and with IT and internet, they are empowered. while they are sitting in their house, they don't see your glossy prospectus and take admissions. They go to the websites, they go to do peer review, and they see what is the placement record and what is the peer review. With that, they come for admission. That's the new empowerment. And therefore, those who are not delivering good education, in last 3 years, more than 400 engineering colleges got closed. If government could have closed those colleges, there would have been a hue and cry. But students are empowered and they close the colleges. So bad will go, the bad will perish, and good will flourish. That's the rule of the day now. With empowerment, good only will flourish and bad will perish. I think that's the best for education or any sector. Because that is how the things will come into order and there will be a meritocracy. The good will survive. And that's what we mean by good governance. अच्छी चीज है, आपने कहा प्राइवेट एजुकेशन पे कुछ लोगों का मिसट्रस्ट था. मेरा उल्टा है, मेरा ऐसा है कि गवर्नमेंट हो या प्राइवेट हो, जो अच्छा है उसको अच्छा कहेंगे, जो बुरा है उसको बुरा कहेंगे. दैट्स वेरी क्लियर. और इसलिए ये कंपटीशन है, कंपटीशन से सर्वाइव करोगे. अगर राइटिंग ऑफ द वॉल नहीं दिख रहे हो कि इफ यू डोंट परस्यू द क्वालिटी एंड इफ यू नॉट टेक ऑन न्यू हाइट्स एवरी ईयर, देन सॉरी, there will be a crisis. And that's what is the new age. That's the 21st India. And अभी 5 राज्यों में भी जो चुनाव हुए, उसमें भी यही हुआ. लोग विकास के लिए वोट दे रहे, लोग विकास के लिए वोट दे रहे. I made it a point. I was in Manipur for 2 months. In every public meeting, I say that I am the education minister and my challenge is to improve the government education, essentially at primary level. I am product of Jilla Parishad. I have learnt in Jilla Parishad school, but that was best because that was the only alternative. And that was good. Modi ji also took his lessons in Jilla Parishad school. So everybody has come up from Jilla Parishad school. They were good. Why they become bad? In the meantime, many things have happened which should not have happened, but we will correct this. And therefore, as you said, both can coexist. Public and private sector can coexist in a neat, well-neat policy and can make a country prosperous and reach out to everybody. And that's the role. हमारी सरकार की, मोदी जी की विशेषता इतनी है कि उन्होंने पहला काम जब सरकार में आए तो एक सिंपल चीज की. हम हमारी परीक्षा के बाद फॉर अटेस्टेशन वी यूज्ड टू रन टू some of the government officers to attest the documents, mark sheet and degrees, certificates. Somebody has to attest. Because the British concept was no trust on the public. No trust on the public. That was the basis, genesis of that regressive method. Because we don't trust you. What you are bringing, what you are showing may not be correct. So get it authenticated by somebody who has been empowered by the state. Modi ji said, no, I trust 125 crore people, so you sign you attest your thing, and things are done. That's the basic trust. And that's the new philosophy. We trust people, we trust institutes, and we'll go by merit. With that, when we learn in diversity, so I was telling you that people say, oh, our country is divided, diverse. But diversity is not division. Diversity, so the slogan is unity in diversity. देश में विविधता, देश विविधता में एकता. ये हमारा नारा है, यूनिटी इन डाइवर्सिटी इज अवर मोटो एंड यूनिटी इन डाइवर्सिटी इज अवर स्पिरिट. I believe that there is role of private investment in education also. Because from KG to PG, do you know the education landscape? 270 million students from KG to PG. 270 million. One of the largest in the world. 270 million. और 27 करोड़ लोग छात्र, उसमें 4 करोड़ उच्च शिक्षा में, हम जैसे कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटी, एंड 23 करोड़ इन स्कूल एजुकेशन, 13 crore in government schools, 10 crore in private schools. Number is growing of private school and reducing of government school. And therefore I was addressing in Manipur also, and I made it a point that मैंने कहा लोगों को, महंगी शिक्षा अच्छी शिक्षा ये समीकरण सही नहीं है. आप गरीब है, आपका अधिकार है, आपके पैसे से सरकारी स्कूल चलते हैं. मेरा चैलेंज है, मैं सरकारी स्कूल को अच्छा बनाऊंगा, सबको शिक्षा, अच्छी शिक्षा, यह हमारा नारा है. We will make government schools good so that you need not incur more expenditure than what you cannot afford. जिसको अफोर्ड करना है उसको चॉइस रहेगा, लेकिन यहां भी अच्छी शिक्षा मिलेगी तो nobody is at loss. And therefore, that's the philosophy on which we work. But I believe that expansion can happen of higher education. We have only 24% of gross enrollment ratio now, presently. So those who pass, 100 students passing out of 12th, only 24 gets into college stream. That's the gross enrollment ratio. So, instead of that, I want to make it more in that age population. That gross enrollment ratio is calculated in that age population of learning from 16 to 28. And in that we are seeing that gross enrollment ratio is just 24%. We want to expand it to 30%, to 40%, to 50%. How it will happen? It has to be done by both government and private sector in a regulatory framework. But regulatory framework, as you rightly said, UGC or earlier AICT also, these regulatory on any day, any circular used to come. I have stopped them. I have said, do all consultation, let us discuss, threadbare, and then we'll come out with. Now I am coming out next month with Open Learning System, ODL. I am bringing out a comprehensive sanctity to the whole process. But the basic principle, good universities, more autonomy. Middle level universities will have middle level autonomy, and bad universities will have more regulations and less autonomy. That's the way we want to go and promote more and more autonomy for good institutes. हम एक नई शैक्षिक नीति भी ला रहे हैं. We are bringing new education policy. क्या रहेगा एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के? I said we have 5 pillars. What are the 5 pillars? Accessibility, सबको शिक्षा. Accessibility, everybody. किसी को भी उच्च शिक्षा लेना चाहिए, चाहता है, उसको मिलनी चाहिए. हर एक को कंपल्सरी नहीं, लेकिन हर एक को अवसर होना चाहिए. Everybody must have an opportunity to learn whatever he wants to learn. But that learning is real learning. और कल मैं दृश्य देख रहा था, कुछ बोर्ड एग्जामिनेशन 10th and 12th के शुरू हुए हैं और वहां नकल का उद्योग जोर से चल रहा है. कॉपी. पेरेंटल केयर का यह अर्थ मुझे मालूम नहीं था कि चौथे मंजिल पे चढ़ के अंदर नोट घुसाना और ये पेरेंटल केयर है. या आई नेवर थॉट ऑफ इट एज अ पेरेंटल केयर. दिस इज एविल. And we will ensure that with new technology, we will do away with this copying scam, and we will make all the education systems clean and transparent. That we are going to do. New education policy का पहला मुद्दा है accessibility. दूसरा है quality. अच्छी शिक्षा मिले. If there is no quality, you are with the degree, and that degree you are found unemployable. AICT has now reformed the engineering education because 60% of our students and engineers are found uncomputable or unemployable by the employers because they don't know anything. एक तो रट लगा के पढ़े हैं या पढ़े ही नहीं है और ऐसे पास हो गए टेक्निक से, जुगाड़ से, तो ये नहीं चलेगा. और इसलिए क्वालिटी, because that only will take India to a new level. And I'll come to the global competitiveness, how we can achieve it. Third is equity. समाज में गरीब लोग हैं और ग्लोबलाइजेशन का एक अच्छा फायदा हुआ कि ग्लोबलाइजेशन से with globalization the economy became global and it expanded exponentially. But the demerit of globalization is increased inequities also. And that inequality is a major worry. गरीब का दोष क्या है? वो गरीब है ये दोष नहीं होता, बुद्धि तो सबके पास समान होती है, अवसर मिलने की बात है. और अवसर मिलता है तो कॉम्पीट करते हैं बच्चे, अच्छे करते हैं. हर एक का एक लेवल होता है, लेकिन सबको अवसर होता है. वो कोई जाति से बंधित नहीं है, वो कोई मजहब के आधार पर नहीं है, वो प्रकृति की देन है. और इसलिए इक्विटी, जो गरीब है उसको शिक्षा में रुकावट नहीं आएगी, उसको शिक्षा मिलेगी, इसका व्यवहार करना ये न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी का एक मुख्य आधार होगा. सो वी आर गिविंग accessibility, equity, quality, and then accountability. Accountability is very important. Accountability of students, accountability of parents, accountability of universities, accountability of teachers. There has to be, everybody has to be accountable for something. I'm accountable for something for which I'm appointed. I'm accountable. And I answer the parliament. I answer the nation if there is any question. But they did not. So accessibility, quality, equity, accountability, and affordability, all are important. With these 5 pillars, we are going to make a new education policy for India, which will ensure for next generation a best education where all the sectors will live, coexist, and will perform their own role and expand the educational opportunities and give quality education. That's the educational scenario I know. Today's topic, you had more than 150 research papers you have received. Many of you may have also written and must have read. This conference is getting concluded. What is the important? World buys the best and cheapest and the best. So how you will bring cost down? There are 4 models by which country can prosper. First is what Europe did in 18th and 19th century and 20th century. That was colonial loot. Shashi Tharoor has written a book, a good book, on how Britishers looted left, right and center the Indian state and Indian people. And there are many books like that. But we must understand, that was the model. Why Europe is prosperous? Because they had so many colonies. And in colonies, they looted left, right and center things, and therefore they became prosperous. That's one way. That is not desirable and not now available also. So that is gone. Now what is next? Is the Middle East, where nature's bounty, all oil. हम कहते हैं यहाँ थोड़ा खुदाई करो गंगा के या पंजाब में कहीं भी तो पानी नजर आएगा, वहां थोड़ा खुदाई करो तो तेल नजर आएगा. वो है वहां चित्र. तो nature's bounty and world is living with fuel, maybe fuelless economy after some time, new technologies developing. But today fuel is an important thing, so they are rich. That's the second way of making country a prosperous country. So first is colonial loot, second is natural bounty, but that's not in our hand. Third is what China and India practiced for last 30 years and became emerging economies and rich. We were very poor country when we got independence. But in last 30 years, particularly after 90s, in last 25, 30 years, we developed to an extent where our GDP has grown phenomenally, and with opening up of economy, we could achieve the targets to a great extent and we got prosperous. But that was on the basis of cost competitiveness. Cost competitiveness. With cheap labor and with essentially with cheap labor, we became cost competitive world over. And some of our traditional skills were competitive, and therefore we emerged as a great, and our exports also grew very fast. And China became the leader. Now today India and China is 1:4. It's a different ball game altogether. They also converted. They got nearly independence. And they also started on new path simultaneously in 47, 48. But they started opening up their economy in 78 and we started in 91. But in 13 years and continuously they continued to reform and they became the world leader in exports and everywhere. So that was the model. But still that has a limitation. And we are seeing it. Now China is also growing slowly with 6.56%. That's the growth rate they are predicting now. But we are also in 7%. We are the fastest growing, and we must be proud that India is now the fastest growing country in the world as far as GDP and everything. But still there is a limit, and my appeal to you is, let us not forget the role of innovation, research and innovation. With innovation only, value is added to the product. And with innovation only, we come out with new utilities. There was no internet, there was no Google, there was no WhatsApp, there was no mobile, there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook. Everything came as an addition, and it changed our lives, and it became a big business, and it gave the country. I was with Steve Jobs, who invented this iPhone, for 2 days. I was IT task force chairman of my state and I had visited his factory. And it was, that time there was, in 97, this was not there. So, 20 years ago, he just showed, he was telling us his dream. He was telling us his vision. And what he was telling was, I will make a handheld which will be sleek, but will perform all utilities and will be a complete computer in your hand. That time there was palm top, but that palm top was essentially an enhanced calculator, nothing more than that. But he was predicting that I will create a phone which will change the lives. And nobody believed. We thought he's daydreaming, because that time for listening to music, we used to plug on Walkman. For taking photos, we used to use camera. For everything, there was different instruments, and there used to be a big bag with us. But now, this is a fact that after iPhone, there are many smartphones have come, and this has changed our life. That is innovation. What can be the material cost? What can be the material cost? Material cost may not be more than 5,000 rupees in this. 5,000 rupees become 50,000. That is the cost. That is the price of innovation. That is the price of innovation. That's the value addition innovation makes. So you must innovate. Innovate something new which is not existing. Or you must improve on the existing products. That is innovation. That requires research. And that when it requires research, so we are laying very high importance to research and innovation development in the higher education centers, public or private. So now, after 5 years, everybody will judge institutes on the basis of how many patents they have got, how many patents they have secured, what is the research infrastructure in their not the physical infrastructure, the research infrastructure. And who innovates? Best of the best students. Best of the best students. They innovate. Because their creativity is still alive. In our education system, the fault is that we crush the creativity, we crush the inquisitiveness. पहली दूसरी में कोई बच्चा ज्यादा सवाल पूछता है तो मास्टर बोलते हैं चुप चुप बैठो. It's a kill. We are killing the innovation. It's a female politicide like. ये गर्भपात जैसी बात है कि वो आपने तो गर्भ में घृणात्या कर दी उसकी कि वो कुछ नया पूछ रहा है क्योंकि वो दुनिया को अपनी नजर से देख रहा है, वो एक अच्छी चीज बता रहा है, लेकिन टीचर को मालूम नहीं है. इसलिए मैं हमेशा कहता हूं, 3 इडियट आपने देखा है. सो आमिर खान जब वीरू सहस्त्रबुद्धे को सवाल पूछता है कि भाई वो अवकाश में जाता है तो पेंसिल क्यों नहीं यूज करते, तो द टीचरशिप इज व्हाट ही सेज, ओ आई गेट बैक टू यू. क्योंकि उस समय उत्तर टीचर को मालूम नहीं है. ही सेज आई गो स्टडी एंड गेट बैक. और वो बाद में जब बारिश होती है, वो जो सारा सीन है उसमें वो बताता है कि आपने ये सवाल पूछा था, आपको पता नहीं, इसका उत्तर ये है. तो दैट इज टीचरशिप. रिसर्च और इनोवेशन में दैट इज व्हाट बिल्ड्स इनोवेशन. The teacher has to be in that teachership mode and the student has to be in that researcher's mode. Then only you will have the real research and innovation. And therefore we have decided, my best of the best students today go to foreign countries, do their research there, and then they get patents. And then they stay there and they make their country prosperous. The whole US model is like that. I had gone to MIT to negotiate MIT Media Lab Asia project when I was chairman of the working group on IT for masters. At that time, they were putting me in some hotel. I said, no, I'll remain in a hostel. Because aura of 7,000 brightest students of the world on one campus was itself a great experience. So next time I will come to you, I will have complete session with students only. Chat and chat and chat. Because you have fresh ideas. मैंने अभी मेरे दरवाजे पर भी एक ये बोर्ड लगाने को कहा है. Vice Chancellor or anybody wants to come to me, he must come with some good idea. Otherwise, they come to just invite me for convocation. There are 800 universities. How can I go and address all the convocation addresses? Then I'll be doing morning, afternoon, 3 shows a day. But I then decided to go limited convocations, but with purpose. The first convocation I did was Ram Bhadracharya Vishwa Vikalanga University, a university for physically challenged persons with physical disabilities. It's in Chitrakoot. One person, Ram Bhadracharya, who has been rewarded by our government with Padma Vibhushan. He is blind by birth, but he is intellectual at the highest order. And then he went throughout the world, gives pravachans, and has earned nearly 300 crore rupees by his effort, and put all those 300 crore into university to build that university, which is the best university. And it's you must see that once as a social project also. Because all hostel, all residential, all first year to PhD, many faculties, no fees, everything free. That's also an education. That's how people are working in this country. And therefore, I went for first convocation to that institute. And there are many such good universities which are doing in their own ways. And I will never go to a university where there is no quality. And therefore, quality is the only criteria on which we all should prevail, because that only quality will bring us the research and innovation culture. And I was telling you the story that all our good students go to foreign countries and earn for that country. Instead, I want to keep that best of the best brains in India. So we have started a new project called GRIN, G-R-I-N, Global Research Interactive Network. What is the project? The best of the best students with their best research proposals. We are now coming up with higher education finance agency because budget gives limited amount. So I am with budget amount of 2,000 crore, I am leveraging through debt market, raising 20,000 crores and giving it to all institutes to create research infrastructure essentially. That research infrastructure will have the best of the best labs in our country. And so students will stay here because they want good labs, good faculty. We are bringing good faculty from outside also. Last year, GYAN program saw 200 internationally renowned professors coming to India and conducting one course at least in either college or university to stay here for 3 weeks and conduct one courses. This year the number will be 600. That's the exchange. Our good professors will also go and their good professors will also come. That will improve the exchange. That will improve the quality. But with GYAN and many other imprint and other programs, we have already allowed startups. And in IIT hostels now 150, we have allowed hostel room to be given as an address for their startup. And more than 150 startups have started from their hostel rooms. There is incubation center. And in GREEN, that is Global Research Interactive Network, we will have the best of the teachers. And then they require scholarship to do the studies. We are giving PM scholarship to the best students at the rate of 75,000 rupees per month. That will be a great scholarship based on only on merit. And so they will get good scholarship, they will get good research lab, they will get good faculty, and even they can access best of the world's lab and best of the faculty in foreign country, and they can go there for 1 year and during their research and add to their project value, and we will pay for that. We are going to pay for that. So I want to retain best of the best brain. It's not now brain drain, it will be brain gain. So then only we will have research and innovation, and then only India can prosper on sustainable basis. The sustainable prosperity comes through innovation. We must find out something new. I always rue that we call ourselves IT superpower, but we are not. We have not come out with Windows. We take solace that once Bill Gates was asked, why you are employing so many Indian engineers? So he famously said, if I don't employ all the Indian good engineers, then they will create another Microsoft in Bengaluru. That is the case, they said. So that's a certificate to us. But that's a limiting factor also. We must start our own. We must start our own. And therefore, we have not come out with Twitter, we have not come out with Facebook, we have not come out with WhatsApp. WhatsApp पर अच्छे मैसेज देते हैं. वो अच्छे होते हैं, मैं रोज 10-12 मैसेज पढ़ता हूँ. अच्छी कमेंट होती है. तो प्रतिभा है, लेकिन वो चैनलाइज नहीं है फॉर इनोवेशन. And therefore, our thrust has to be to get real prosperity and global competitiveness depends upon your innovative abilities. And that research and innovation is the crux of the matter. And therefore, today, at this juncture, you have organized a very important seminar in which you have thought of being global competitive, how India can lead, And that's the way through research and innovation. And so that's the base, friends. So, to conclude, I can say that you are here in the best campus, in one of the good universities, and you excel. मेहनत करो यारो, अध्ययन का समय फिर से नहीं आता, इतना कंटिन्यूअस अध्ययन करने का आनंद आता है, जैसे गायक होते हैं, गाने वाले दीवाने हो जाते हैं, 10-10 घंटे 12-12 घंटे रियाज करते हैं, तब उनके आवाज से जादू निकलती है। और मेरी आवाज ही पहचान है, ये तब कह सकते हैं जब आवाज के लिए इतनी मेहनत की होती है। और वैसे आप भी जिस भी फैकल्टी में है, क्योंकि यहाँ there are so many faculties, except in medical, you have practically all educational aspects here. So take to the best height. Ask questions. Keep your professors on toes, because that is our right, to keep professors on toes. They must be challenged, and in that they will give their best, and that's your best gift. That's what you want to be here, and that's what you will get. And we'll all make our country prosperous and on sustainable prosperity with innovative India. We'll gain the premium, the prime position in the World Committee, and we'll get the developed India by 2030 with tremendous expertise and tremendous trade and everything going, and on the basis of research and innovation. Friends, that's conclusion, and that's the mission for all of us. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you. Sir, I'm tempted to say कि वो आए बज़्म में इतना तो मीर ने देखा, फिर उसके बाद चरागों में रोशनी न रही। Sir, we admire your charisma, we admire your effective approach that your words reflect. Give us education system. Thank you very much for that assurance, sir. May I now request the Chancellor, LPU, Shri Ashok Mittal, and the Pro-Chancellor, Mrs. Rashmi Mittal, to kindly come front stage to felicitate the Honorable HRD Minister.
चला जा कोई दिक्कत नहीं।
Sir, this is a small token. We can never repay the debt. We are so honored and obliged for your service here. Thank you, sir, for doing the honors. May I request the dignitaries who kindly stay front stage. Sir, taking advantage of your gracious presence here today on the LPU campus, we wish to avail this opportunity to honor some of our students. And faculty who have excelled in different fronts or won laurels for the university in various national level events. May I request Shri Som Prakash ji, MLA, to also kindly join for the presentation. I would like to first invite a contingent of 40 students who have won overall trophy in the AIU North Zone Unifest and bagged the third run-up trophy in the Nationals in 2017. This contingent has students skilled in music, dance, theatre, fine arts and literary fields. LPU has, sir, bagged the overall trophy of AIU North Zone Unifest for 2 years consecutively. So many congratulations to this contingent, very talented people and a very talented team collectively. Now, there comes the beautiful trophy which they have been able to win. And this is a rare opportunity for all of them to have a very memorable photograph with the HRD Minister of the Government of India, Shri Prakash. I now invite the proud parents of Amanpreet Singh, who won the silver medal in the 50 meters pistol event at the World Cup organized by the International Shooting Sports Federation, Mrs. and Mr. Sevak Singh, DSP Punjab Police, to please receive the award from the Honorable Minister. Coming to sports, our 34 students won at various international and national championships in this academic session. I must mention that all the top 3 prizes were backed by LPU students in the 11th International Taekwondo Championship 2016 held in Nepal. So a team of 34 students who have brought glory to LPU with their performance in various events in the academic year 2016-17. Thank you. Many congratulations. Our faculty and students are also bringing laurels to the university in research. The university would like to honor faculty who have been awarded the research grant of more than ₹1 crore for the project on treatment of wastewater using agri-waste in collaboration with the McGill and UNEP University, Canada. I invite the project team of Dr. Ramesh Kanwar, the Vice Chancellor in absentia, Dr. Neeta Raj, Dr. Joginder Singh and Dr. Raj Kumar to please receive the award. In fact, LPU is the leader of the project in which IARI and Amrita University are also partners, and the total value of the project is 4 crores. Awards for the publication in Scopus. I invite Dr. Suman Maji from Chemical and Physical Sciences, who published a review paper with impact factor of 37, and Dr. Muruganandan from Department of Physiotherapy, who published an abstract of his work in LastNet with an impact factor of 39. Let's give them a good hand. Next is, sir, 29 students of LPU have scored the maximum cumulative grade point average, that is CGPA of perfect 10. May I invite all of them to come up and receive the university roll of honor from the Honorable HRD Minister, Shri Prakash Javadekar ji. A perfect 10, sir, perfect 10. They are the pride of the university, and 29 of them across all disciplines, across the 3 faculties of Science and Technology, Business and Arts, and Applied Medical Sciences. Many congratulations. These are the future of research, these are the future of the nation, these are the future leaders. Thank you. Our 5 students from NSS and NCC participated in the Republic Day Parade 2017, National Camps and the National Youth Festival. I invite all of them to come and receive their awards from the Honorable Minister. And finally, the team LPU has been making tremendous efforts to enhance the placeability of its graduates. As a result, the placements have improved very significantly in terms of numbers and packages. We would like to invite our few of the faculty members who are training and placement coordinators to come up and receive the appreciation from the Honorable Minister. Some of the prominent companies, sir, where the students have been placed include Adobe Systems, Amazon India, Hindustan Unilever, Bosch Engineering, Kori India, Hitachi Consulting, Samsung R&D, Honda Two Wheelers, Voltas International, Godrej Consumer Products, P&O Cruise, Air Vistara, Cobra Assassin, Hyundai Constructions, Elga Equipments, Asian Paints, Max Hospitals, and many more. And the packages in these companies range from 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs to up to 20 lakhs. Thank you very much, sir, for doing the honors and honoring the people with remarkable achievements. And finally, it is time for the vote of thanks to our beloved and honorable HRD Minister, Shri Prakash Javadekar-ji. Sir, it has been a real privilege to have you amongst us at LPU today and understand firsthand the endeavors of the government and your personal vision to transform education. Sir, you will always find LPU contributing sincerely to all initiatives of the government. We are immensely grateful to you for sparing time to inspire all of us with your presence and your words of wisdom. We are also grateful to the Chancellor for making this high-profile visit possible. Also, a grateful thanks to Som Prakash ji, the Pro-Chancellor, and all those who were part of this project. May I now request all present to kindly rise for the National Anthem. Thank you all. With this, we come to the end of this event. Thank you. I request once again remind the faculty to kindly, those who are participating in the flag formation ceremony, to kindly report to the venue.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਖਿੱਚੀਆਂ ਕੈਮਰੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਪਈਆਂ ਹੋਣੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਤਾਂ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਤੇ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਇਹ ਕੈਮਰੇ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਆ गया यहाँ तो भीड़ नहीं है खाली बोला नहीं उसको जाके सबमिट करवा दे अभी जाके सबमिट करवा दे अभी जाएगा ना आज के इवेंट खत्म नहीं पता नहीं कुछ नहीं पता गुरु हाँ वो एक तो बात नहीं हैगा तीन तो बन जाए मुझे कहते हैं तो बहुत कुछ चल रहा है चल नहीं बनता हूँ हाँ तो ये कार्ड लेके जाए अपना कार्ड भी और ये दोनों अभी का भी जाकर फोन को दे दे मुझे फोन से बात ठीक है जाके दोनों कार्ड अपने वाला भी बन लीजिए दोनों कार्ड सोल को दे दे और नाजिम कहाँ है कहाँ से और सुमित उसका फ़ोन कहाँ पे है कहाँ नाजिम जा रहा है नाजिम ये कैमरा और ये लेंस लेके उनके साथ निकल जा अभी के अभी रोशन सर के पीछे रोशन सर के पीछे पीछे चल जा ठीक है कैंपस टूर है और जो 29 ब्लॉक वाला है वो कर ले ठीक है
एक तो कल्चरल एक्टिविटीज है और फ्लैग जो बनेगा ह्यूमन फ्लैग ये वाला
ओके जी हाँ
गुरु माता वाला लाइव करना
अब लगा तो यही कर देते
बिल नहीं कर पाएंगे
दोनों कार्ड अभी के भी दे दे और उसने क्या मुझे इमीडिएटली फोन पे बात कर ले इसका भी हाँ ये भी दोनों साथ में ठीक है हाँ हाँ उसके बाद तू मुझे कह दे कि हाँ जी मुझे अभी कॉल कर ठीक है
अच्छा वो सोहल से बात कर रही थी, कोई बात नहीं। यही है फिर
हाँ जी सर,
कल मैं बाहर देखता हूँ।
ठीक है जी।
Goodbye.